Y'all ready in the back? Okay, first question will be Corey to your right.
Adam, not to be too simple about it, but that second half was one of the best halves Florida State defense has played in, I don't know, a decade. What happened between the first and second half? How do you describe that? As bad as it was in the first half, how did he get so good in the second half?
Well, it was really bad in the first half. And, we work really hard on practicing the right things. And conceptually, there were 0 things they did different, Louisville. I mean, they ran the same plays, same actions, and they give you a couple different presentations. And with our guys right now, it's about practicing the specific things they're going to see, because that allows them to play faster. And even if the picture, if 2 guys are lined up on one side, 1 guy's lined up on the other side, and they make the picture look a little bit different, I just got to continue to find ways to show them it's the same thing we've worked. It's just maybe X is here and Z is there, and trying to get us playing a little bit faster in reaction. You don't want them to see things for the first time and not play it well, and see things moving forward better. But, that's big picture. Small picture is third downs. I mean, it's not even close. I mean, you got to get off the field. I mean, we started the first series, I think it was 3rd and 9, and we give up a conversion. Second series, we had 3rd and 6, and we got a late hit, and those things add up, and you end up staying on the football field. I wish, there's adjustments in between series, there's adjustments at halftime, there's always those things. But attribute it to seeing it again and again and reacting in a better way. Because we're constantly trying to educate them in between each series. This is what you're getting. This is how it needs to be played. And so, yeah.
Stay over there for Ira.
After they hit the big play to start off with, did it seem like guys got a little bit tentative or something? It seemed like there's a lot of those third down conversions. You had guys, whether you're playing zone or man, you had guys in position but kind of didn't react maybe as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, guys press. I mean, guys press when you're winning games, guys press when you're losing games, and that comes out in different ways. I think stress is always self-made. It's how you react to every situation. Again, we're third downs. I mean, we're playing man coverage, we're playing bracket coverage, we're playing zone coverage, we're blitzing, we're rushing 3, we're doing a lot of different things to get stops. But you look and listen, we gave up 31 points. That's unacceptable. We gave up 2 big plays, which usually if you give up 2 big plays against an offense nowadays, that's pretty good football. We're counting that 20 yards or more. It just happened, the 2 big plays were both touchdowns. One, as you alluded to on the first drive, and they just give us an over route, and the guy in the deep part of the field jumps it because it looks open, and where really it isn't. And then we got a missed tackle down in the red zone that created a big play on just a slant. So, usually when you make teams drive the field, I feel confident we're going to make enough plays to get off the field or force field goal attempts. Just Saturday in that first half, we didn't get the stops on third down. We didn't give up many big plays, but it was 6 here, 4 there, 3 there, 8 there. And, those inches are just making sure that we're confident enough when we're in those positions to make sure that we're playing fast enough. In those 8 third downs and the 9 third downs in the second half, it happened all but once. So, those are constant things. I don't want to say we're learning lessons every week. Whether we're winning or losing, you're constantly doing it. But we're sick of losing lessons through failure. We need to start winning all these situations.
We'll go back to Dom on the left.
Coach, just going against a guy like Moody, guy, you feel like the way you guys stopped in the second half gives you maybe a good blueprint moving forward as to how you can limit quarterbacks who have the ability to beat you in multiple ways?
Yeah, I mean, he's a really good player, and I guess we're talking about last week too, and that's part of it. But there were times, he got out a few times. I got called back on penalties. I thought we had guys in good spots. I thought our front did a good job as far as just eliminating run lanes. When we flushed them, we usually flushed them to the help that was there, and that's all part of the plan. But he's a really good player. Anytime a guy can hurt you with his feet and his arm, it creates a challenge, but it's 2021. There's a lot of good athletes at quarterback. We've got to be better than them.
Go back to Corey on your right.
Adam, is one of the keys to the season how you guys come out in the first half against Syracuse with what you could build on from that second half? And if they come out and play similarly, is that something that could spring forward this team Because it's been the consistency maybe that's been lacking on that side of the ball.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, not to sound like a bad answer, but of course, right? Like,
There
let's
you
go
go.
stop them early. And, you know, that first straight rep of Wake, they give us exact plays that we practice, we match up great, we pick the ball off, you know, and, you know, so starting fast is something, but we talked about that yesterday, you know, like in our meetings, like starting fast is a mindset. It's not just in games, it's in practice, it's in meetings, and we're trying to push that. But yeah, I think, you know, for us to go play well this coming up week, that needs to happen early in the football game. There's absolutely urgency and the intensity of that message being sent.
And I didn't really ask that question well, so that was on me.
That's okay.
But the confidence that they can take from that second half, how big could that be? Because confidence is a big deal when it comes to sports and well and everything. But how big could the confidence of having a half like that, what could it do for this team moving forward? And will you be able to know early on in the game on Saturday, okay, they built on this. They look like the team from the last second half.
Yeah, well, you know, as coaches, you know, there's a lot of things that go from fourth quarter when it ended Saturday to 3:30, whenever the kickoff time is this Saturday. So, I mean, those signs of that being momentum, confidence, should show up today, right? And just how they show up in their off day and what that looks like for them individually with each other. You know, and I'll get that vibe, you know, early, and then tomorrow morning at practice, you know, and it is a simple formula to have success. Like, it's not super complicated. We make it complicated because there's a human element involved, which involves confidence, right? That, you know, usually you develop confidence through the work, but you do need success, right? You do need success individually and collectively to gain momentum. And, you know, listen, we're never going to sit here and say success is when we lose games. That's not it. But, you know, we got a bunch of stops on third down, you know, in the entire second half. So, you know, does that build momentum? It needs to.
All right.
You mentioned that Louisville, their offense basically presented what you expected, but it seemed like there was some confusion in a few different situations, particularly on the back end. Is that just the pressure of the situation, or any reason for why that would happen?
Yeah, I think when you give up, listen, we've given up some big balls, you know, in just one-on-one situations this year. And then on the first drive, when there becomes a big ball on, I thought you were going to do this and I did that to help you, and it was the bad reaction, there becomes some pressing and there becomes some urgency. And my message to them is that same urgency happens on the practice field, and that's the time to practice those moments. And, you know, it's just, we all have heard you practice like you play. And that doesn't come to just making plays or tackles or balls, but it also comes to mindset. You know, and so I think when guys are communicating, you know, and they're trying to get themselves lined up and communicate before snaps, you know, sometimes that comes out when you have an intensity about you as confusion sometimes, you know, and, you know, I always say to be a good communicator, there needs to be a good listener as well. And so both those things are definitely things we're trying to make sure get solved so we can play through. And, you know, again, we are playing a good amount of people in the secondary. That's not something that I always want to do, but it's something that we're doing right now. We're constantly trying to squeeze that as tight as we can right now.
Come to Chris over here, you're on.
A couple young guys made their debut. Joshua Farmer, Duke Cooper, I think was another one. Just how did they do? I know Cooper gave up a touchdown, but still.
Yeah, I mean, that's life as a corner. You know, Duke gets out there, and I thought, you know, he played, you know, early in that first half. It was on purpose. We think he's going to add something to us this year. But the life of a corner, you can play really good for 10 plays, great technique, great out with all pluses. And then the one play you give up a touchdown, you played a terrible game. So we're trying to help him through that, make sure he understands the importance of each play, but also, you know, just in that rep of making sure he understands where it's at. And then Josh Farmer went in too. That was important to us. And those guys didn't go in as a surprise. Like, it's, I don't want to say back in camp we said Louisville game you're playing, but like the progression of them, like they earned the right to go in the game because we think they help us win. And that'll continue as long as they continue.
We'll go back to Ira on your right.
The way you guys have defended the run, especially in second halves of games, but really overall, what do you think has been the key to that?
Yeah, good question. You know, I think, you know, just this, I always look at nowadays, there's so many plays being run out there, you know, so I'm not looking at the total of it. I'm just per play, what's it look like? You know what I mean? What's the average? What's it look like per play? And, You know, I've coached on some really good run defenses in my career, and there's a look to it when the ball gets handed, and there's usually not a lot of space, and that starts up front, and that's happening. You know, when the ball turns over, there's still gaps in there, but things are getting compressed. And then we're playing with really good effort, and we're chasing things down. So maybe things that were 10-yard gains are now 5-yard gains, and things that had some space close quickly and they're 2-yard gains. You know, and we've been a good job as far as eliminating any explosive runs as well, you know, which means we're tackling better. So all those things are contributing to it. I mean, we looked really hard, you know, in the offseason saying, all right, in this league, this is how you got to play defense to make sure that we're compressing these run lanes better. That's a general overall thing, but then each week, you know, it's critical, you know, that it doesn't always start with stopping the run, because there are some teams that identify themselves not in that way, but I would say most of the time in college football, it does start there. And I am proud of the way we're building walls and compressing gaps right now. It feels like there's a lot less space, and the results are showing up too.
We'll go back to Chris here in the front.
What's Syracuse doing offensively this year? I know they ran it a lot in their last outing, and also the 2 quarterbacks they've used, they're quite different. Does that challenge you guys even more?
Yeah, I mean, the offense has stayed the same, but, you know, last week, you know, they started 16, you know, it was a new quarterback for them, even though he's played this year, and he played the entire game, you know, so, you know, whoever they put back there, but the offense has stayed the same. I think there's some differences between the two of them, just from a skill set, but they're going to call the game the same way, they're going to play the game the same way, so, you know, we study each quarterback, but, you know, I think, you know, you're always going to go off of more of the last game. That's the most current information you have. So, you know, we'll go put the plan together based off of that information.
All right, anything else? Okay, thank you, Coach.